historically for me, well, historically in the terms of AI, which is only a few months, but historically for me, OpenAI has been on the weaker side of coding LLMs. So when they announced Codex, which is also the name of their CLI, but in this one they actually have a model called Codex 1 as well. So the naming is kind of confusing. I'm going to call it Codex Remote Agents because that just makes sense to me. We are not testing the CLI version. We are testing the cloud-based version that allows you to spin up remote agents to do things for you. And honestly, I have had a ton of fun using it. And for $200 a month, I know that's a lot of money for a lot of people. It's a lot of money for me too. But the value you get for it is just astronomical. I can't tell you how excited I am about being able to work with these agents and just completely change my workflow. And honestly, if you watch my last video that I did on remote agents changing everything when Augment Code released theirs, I didn't expect it to be this fast. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I thought we were months out, but we've got background tasks from Cursor. We now have Codex remote agents, which is phenomenal. And we've always had Claude Code, which can do a disconnected sort of CLI approach. So you don't necessarily have to have that, running with user input as well. So that's kind of a remote agent as well. But it is not cheap currently. You do need to be on the pro plan. There is talk about it ending up on the team plan. If that ends up happening, I probably am going to consider just paying for that for my team and then figuring out they give me for like limits and stuff. Like if it's super good limits, the team plan's probably fine and it'll end up being cheaper than paying for the pro plan for individuals. Now, I did upgrade for the pro plan. Most likely, I am going to keep the pro plan. I know a lot of you have also been knowing that I'm using Claude Code and doing an experiment there. I have gone ahead and downgraded my plan from Claude Code to the $100 a month plan. So currently, my most used stack as of the last couple days has been Claude Code, and now I put about 20 hours into Codex. So what does it actually look like? When you go into Codex, the onboarding experience is really simple. They have you link GitHub, and I've got a couple things linked here. So let me just go into environments here and show you what I've been doing. I've ran 58 tasks on this repo and 3 tasks on this repo. I just wanted to test kind of a different stack completely here. Now, the one that I've done 58 on, that isn't just one-offs. A lot of those have 5, 6, 10 messages in them. So I've done a significant amount of work with this particular repo, and it is a Vue.js, TypeScript, and it uses loopback for its main server. It is mainly built on Express, if you're familiar with that. So it's a node, it's running node 20 currently, which I do want to talk about a little bit because when you come in here, you can basically set up some advanced properties and things like your environment variables. I'm not giving it any of my API keys. I don't actually want it to run my server. So I'm not giving it any of my like AWS credentials or anything like that that you'd actually need to run this, just to be very clear. But there is an issue here. So I have Node.js version 20 here, and if I connect to this interactive terminal, what's actually going to happen is it's going to run any startup script you have here. Now, this is just me kind of touching on the things that I've ran into as trouble, as problems. Ideally, I would like to be able to run my npm test suite on there, but I can't do that because npm install fails. And it fails because it's using version node 22. So you'll see here when I go in here and I just type in node -- version, you're going to see it show version 22.115.1. Now it does have access to NVM, so I can say use v20, and now it's actually going to have version 20, but only in this terminal instance. So then I was thinking, can I just add NVM use v20 over here and then npm install? But actually I can't do that because what you're going to see is NVM isn't usable when the setup script starts. So the setup script is starting before NVM is getting set up. So it's going to actually error saying NVM can't be found. Anyway, just some nuance there, but they do have this thing where they're going to be bringing custom images soon. Which I think, so there you go, the NVM command not found, which I will definitely be doing because I actually have fairly complex Docker files that I use in production today. I'll probably just make a Codex version of that for my environment. It'll have everything set up that I need in there. But for coding, it's all right. I just don't get, I can get some of my tests to run, but the ones that require like Vite or VITE or Vite test rather, I can't get those to run because I can't get npm installed to properly run. Anyway, jumping back to the tasks that I have here, I just want to show you what it looks like to kick off a task. So I've prepared a few tasks here, and I've got this first one that is a very basic one, but it is going to have to touch a couple different files. You can pick what branch you want it off of, and you can also say ask or code mode. So I'm going to go ahead and hit code mode there. And while that's running, I'm just going to go ahead and copy the other one in. Now this one's actually very basic. It's a single file. This is like perfectly built for what Codex is good for. It's just a little minor UI quirk where basically something's loading a little too fast, and then ultimately we end up in this place where it's broken looking because you're like, okay, it popped in. Whew, okay. So anyway, now this third task is one that I don't expect to work because this gets to be a little bit on the complex side. And just a few of the things that I've learned about prompting is you can't actually add file references. You can't do like you can do @agent, whatever. You do, but I have found anything that's greppable. So you want to use things like in here, you see I've got plan ID or agent plan.ts.view. So I'm giving it file names. I found that to work a lot better. It does do a reasonable job because I actually have documentation at the top level of my repository that talks about what things do in my app, and it will go find that and it'll look at my ubiquitous language file as well, and then it will track down. So I've done some tests without telling it, but I just want it to be a little bit quicker. So I'm going to go ahead and hit code here. Now you notice all three of those tests are actually running, and I've actually been working on a bunch. So if you look at my archive list here, for example, these are the ones where I was kind of experimenting with trying to get my environment set up. So that's what the failed is about. It's because that I'm using Node 20. I need to upgrade some stuff to get to Node 22. So that's probably the right thing to do, but it's just not what I've got time for right now. But anyway, this you can see here, this is a large version, like some large changes, and then you get these merge stacks. So these are PRs that I actually directly merge. So this one's actually open. So these are working. So let's go ahead and click in this first one. This is the very basic one, just so you can kind of see what you see here. Typically, I don't even care about this because I wait till it's done and I come back and I look at it. But I can go and look at the log for what's actually happening here. So here you can see that it got a apparently an error. So it's going to go and resolve that. So here is sort of what the log format looks like. So I always find it interesting. I need to actually set up an agents.md file. And I didn't realize this until well into probably hour 10, but it was working so good I haven't gone around to do it. But I think if I tweaked and actually set up agents.md and gave it some more instructions, honestly, I think I could make this even more killer. So keep that in mind. If you're setting this up now, I've actually been working on an agents.md file using augment code, honestly, to help me generate some direction. I just don't have it deployed yet. So just keep that in mind that it actually does go and like look at that. And I think what we can do is we can actually point it to different parts of the code based on what it's doing. Totally theoretical now. I'm going to give it some tests, and maybe I'll report back if I find anything promising there. And then you can kind of see all the different tool calls it does. It's pretty insane. And now this is using the Codex 1 model. So this isn't using any model that we're normally used to. And I just want to point out something real quick, that if I go into, this is one that I always like to test, find and fix a code bug. I actually should have worded that a little bit different. So we can go in here and look at the logs and kind of find out. This is one that I used to kind of test my secondary repo. So again, it looked in agents.md. And let's find out what bug it actually ended up. So it's got a error handler in the Shopify helpers add tags customer function so that errors are always logged and the retry is triggered correctly. Now, if I look at the diff of this, you can see here the changes that it actually made. It basically, it's hard to even tell like side by side what it changed here. I actually don't know if it changed anything. Oh, it removed this if. Okay, so it basically quit checking if there's a message, and it just always retried. So I kind of like that change. I think that's actually good. I'm not sure why we did that if there for the log, when really we probably should always log that out when we're doing our log analysis that we do. So my favorite feature here is this copy get apply, because you can copy this And very quickly, without having to do any branch things or anything, if you're on dev, you can paste this into your terminal, hit enter, and you just apply this diff immediately to your local version. I can test it and we're good to go. And we're going to do that here in a second when one of these actually finishes. So we've got this add loading state to plan strategy. So we're going to go ahead and go in here and take a look at this. Very simple. I didn't even give it much design. I don't think you can upload any images or anything. So I'm kind of letting it make its own decision for how it wants to do the design. So you can see here that I did hit copy, get apply, and I'm going to switch over to VS Code just to show you how I do this. Okay, so now I'm in VS Code. I pasted in the get diff, and I'm going to go ahead and do it. So you can see here, it applied the patch to agent knowledge.ts.view. I can see those changes here. And now I didn't need to pull down a branch or anything. I can literally go test this very quickly on my end. That's loading a little too fast. I just want to test to see what it did here. So I'm going to turn off the point where it says it's loading. So here, this is great. This is exactly totally fine. So in the case that my server is a little bit slow, I've got it pretty optimized. But in production, when traffic's high, sometimes you've got a second or two and you don't want it to feel broken. So that's actually a fantastic change there. Now I have a couple options here. I can push it directly from here, or I can actually go back into Codex and do a PR directly from here. So I can create this PR, very basic. It's going to actually do a really good job here for me. And then I can hit view PR. So the thing is you have connected this to GitHub, right? Like, so you do have to give it access to all your code, which is kind of crazy to think about. So that is something that, like, I think we're just going to have to get more and more comfortable with, but it's not going to be for everyone. In my case, I'm totally fine with that based on the value that I get from it. So I can see the diff here, and this all looks just totally fine to me. And again, I could go ahead and merge it. So I'm going to do a little bit more testing on it. So I'm not going to merge it now. Or if I wanted to, I could just stay in VS Code and push from there, create a branch from there, however you want to do that. So while that is running, just if you do hit create environment here, at this point, this is where you would add another GitHub account. I've linked to my personal and my work one, and you can see all the different branches. So you do need to actually give it to, or I mean, all the different repos. You do have to give it access to a repo. And then you set that up. So you can see I still have one task running, which I really like. And I do want to touch on one thing really quick while that is still running. I was actually shopping with my wife this weekend. Let me make sure I'm in the right place. And I decided to code with Codex. And I was reading through, and they've done a great job showing you diffs and things like that right on the mobile phone. This is insane to me that I'm able to do that so nicely. So we actually have a, this large one is still running, but let's go ahead and take a look at this archive status, because this one's like a medium-sized one, and I purposely tried to do that. You can see here my npm run lamp fails because npm install won't install lbes-lit, so a little annoying, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I have to kind of, it is still early, even though this thing feels so polished. I'm really like picking at like the edges here, to be totally honest with you. And anyway, I can go through my log, which if I was doing this in production, I would go through this, and if I was actually going to commit this, I'd go through this and make sure that there's nothing crazy. But in particular, what I really care about is the diffing and looking at like the code changes here. So I can see that they updated existing classes. This all looks good. It doesn't appear like I have any model changes. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab the get apply, the get copy apply, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into the IDE. So I did actually run that now. So I actually have it patched in, and these are the changes. They're already staged up. In this particular one, it's going to be a very simple test. I'm going to be able to just test real quick if something gets set to complete and that it gets archived correctly. Very simple. So I'm going to go ahead and restart the server, and we're going to give this a go. Now, if I'm here, this is my testing out. As you can see, I got a crap ton of campaigns here. If I go here and I click on this T-Journey Appreciation Day, I load this up, I should have an archive button now. If this works correctly, I should be able to hit archive. And now I should be able to go back to Command Center and not see it anymore. But if I turn on this archived plans and campaigns, I should be able to see, oh, looks like I've got some formatting issues there with this archive tag, unfortunately. So I will need to fix that. But for a first pass on this, this is actually pretty dang good. Did I click on the wrong one? I might have actually, because I want this one. No, no, no. Oh, it's because my archive turned off. So this says it's archived, but my status here says campaign ready. That seems kind of odd. So I want to just archive that. I don't feel like it's updating the status here properly. That could be a very simple thing. I'll have to dig into that one. We won't do that here on this video. But definitely some formatting issues there, especially with long. I'm actually got another task working where I'm just trying to revamp this entire table a bit because it kind of gets junky. This looks awful. Now jumping back, this one's been running 14 minutes now for this, basically call this the collaboration feature. And holy moly, it's doing some massive changes here all across the board. I actually love that it found this. So some of the agent tools that I run won't actually find the index.ts file for loading in new controllers. This is the controller it created. Let me see if it did my authentication correctly. It's got my guard strategy. Where is my authorize? Yes, that is good. Yep, we would want customers and support to be able to leave comments. That's great. And then let's take a look. We've also got a new model. ID, content, resolved, ignored, created at. Okay, there's the relationships. It belongs to a user. And it can actually have a parent, so that means it can do that. You can like reply to a comment. So love that. And then the repository, yep, it's got all the resolvers in there. This is looking really good. So I guess the big thing is going to be this particular thing, how well they did diffing or doing the coding here. So I think it's, let me just make sure. Yep, it looks like it's done. 816 lines added, 287 removed. I'm going to go ahead and probably just create a draft PR for this one because it's a little bit larger. And this is another workflow you can use. Draft, or you can do an actual PR. I prefer draft when it's something that I'm just going to be testing. So here's my draft PR. I'm going to go ahead and just grab this particular branch that I put it on, and I'm going to pull that down locally. Okay, so this is a good example of something that broke here because I didn't actually dig in and why I like pulling it locally. So it did actually format my code kind of poorly here. What it looks like it may have done is it just kind of put this all out of order. So like an idiot, I just realized I added it to the wrong task. So I just confused it a lot. So I'm going to fix it and put it on the right task. And this is something, honestly, I do probably twice a day, 3 times a day, because you're jumping between all these things, especially when you have different tabs and stuff open. So don't be like me. Take your time, pay a little bit more attention to what task you're working on. So I'm going to kick it off now and we'll see what happens. So this is also kind of funny here in Slack. I sent this picture to my team. I run marketing evals across new models that come out, and these kind of judge the quality of models. And we actually, because the usage is so low on Codex Mini, our app, my marketing evals actually showed up on the leaderboard in OpenRouter. So I thought that was kind of funny. Claim to fame now, number 11 for at least a little bit of time until people start using it a lot. It is a good model, though. It scored really, really relatively high for it. And just checking in on it, one of the things that I found is that it's a really interesting approach. Like, watch how it kind of scrolls through code here when it's working. Like this agent that they've built here is really, really incredible. As soon as this gets working, I'm actually going to send it on some tasks to actually refactor this file because it's gotten too big with all the added lines they've just put into it. So really, I need to break that out. But I've done that a few times already, and it seems to work really well. It's not perfect the first time. If you can give it a lot more information on the task that you need done, it is awesome. If it's just like small, simple things, just freaking do it, man. Like, it takes you like seconds to kick these things off. I mean, I literally was sitting in the car waiting for my wife, kicked off a couple tasks, checked them, came home, and I just did a quick test on them. All good, man. And then I just merged them PRs right away. It's amazing. It was a fun weekend, honestly. All right, so the moment of truth here. If I go into one of the plan pages, can I actually leave a comment? It looks like I have a comment set by default. This is not styled that great. I actually did not migrate the database yet, so this isn't going to work fully. So it looks like after migrating the database and restarting the server, There is an error in the J or the TypeScript here that prevents this from loading. It would be pretty easy to save. Resolved. This is all kind of ugly, but I could fix this, right? This is actually a really good start on a commenting section on a plan. There's some bugs to fix, a lot of styling. We need it to look pretty, that kind of stuff. But honestly, not bad for something that's more complex than I thought I was going to be able to do, to be totally honest. But really, where does that leave me? I freaking love it. My product manager that sits behind me all day, he also loves it. By the way, my kids dropped that off in my office, and I need them to take it out of here at some point. So I just have this like green alien sitting over my shoulder all day long. Anyway, I pretend it's my product manager that's coming over asking me how I'm doing on stuff. I don't know if you guys have had people like that before. Anyway, this has been probably some of the most fun time that I've had testing a new tool because it literally felt amazing. It was done remotely. It worked a good amount of the time. Simple stuff with just boom, 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 boom. There's some downsides to it. I showed you the stuff around Node version. I don't know. That's probably an issue with others as well. When they let me do custom images, that's going to be freaking awesome because my images are fairly complex. I can get it to actually behave a little bit more the way I want. The other issue I ran into is at one point it lost its connection to GitHub. Refreshing didn't work. I basically had to go through onboard again and reconnect it. It's just a weird anomaly. I don't really understand what happened there, but it only happened one time, and that was like 8 hours into it. Probably just some kind of weird bug that they had on their end. From a coding perspective, it does a really good job. The model works well. You do have to learn how to kind of prompt it because you can't upload images to tell it, like, make it look like this. So you still do want to have the local coding tools like Claude Code, Root Code, Augment Code, because you're not going to be able to do everything there. I think this is a amazing, amazing tool. $200 is a phenomenal deal for it. Theoretically, I bet you that over time they're going to charge a lot more for that. It's actually kind of scary because I could see that price going up significantly over time, which makes me sad because at $200, that's a price range I can afford, like personally. But if it gets to like $500 or $1,000 a month, that starts getting tough, and then it starts putting a lot of us out of the market for tools like that. So if it ends up going into the Teams plan, that's where I'm gonna go because that's a little bit cheaper. Can pay for a subscription for everyone on my team, even if the limits are a little bit harsher. And to be fair, I never hit a single limit, and I literally was running 4 or 5 jobs at a time at some point. Beyond that, honestly, I can't manage it all. I'm trying to do stuff locally. I'm trying to test stuff that's done. There's just a limit to how much I can personally do. So what it's got set up on $200 plan is plenty for me, and the fact that they have it in mobile where I can kick off remote jobs was just the icing on the cake. I could not believe that that was a possibility. It wasn't at first. I just saw a post on X about it, and I ended up having to update the app and do some weird like sending messages, refresh it, kill the app, restart it, and eventually it showed up for me, and it is awesome to have it on there. That is such a surprise. Like honestly, it's such a surprise. I may sound excited about this, and it's because I really genuinely am. For the first time, I actually feel like OpenAI cares about developers. Like this Codex is built for developers. Like the fact that you can go in here and do like grab a Git diff and you can see the code directly in the browser. I can actually create a PR with it. I can jump to the PR. I can basically just do all the things that I would want to do here. I can copy a patch. I can walk through all the logs so I see very clear the decisions that were made and what it actually did. And I learned about some of the things that I can actually do to improve it. They really, really did a great job with this. And I actually kind of wonder how anyone is going to top this. I have to imagine Claude Code is baking up something like this too, to be honest. And in a few weeks or a month or so, they might have a competitor to this, and that'll start getting super interesting. Augment Code, I do still really like the remote agents, but this is just better. The user experience is just better. But so you kind of gotta like weigh that both ways. Augment Code's a lot cheaper though, but again, I'm not sure where limits are going to fall on remote agents. So we'll see over time, where the real value is here. But right now, I don't know. if you're doing stuff that you just need to be able to get like light jobs done and you can keep it kind of running, 10 or 15 tasks a day or something like that, there's just the value for this thing is just amazing to me. And the fact that I can sit and kick this off while I'm waiting for my wife to do some shopping, to me is just amazing. All right, anyway, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you wouldn't mind, let me know in the comments below what you think of Codex and if you've happened to try it. And maybe consider liking and subscribing to the video to help the algorithm. I put a lot of work into this one, and hopefully it's been helpful to you and helps you make a good, informed decision going forward. Anyway, until next time, everyone, peace out.